And we are live from Keeler Gardens. Welcome to this lovely Thursday. A little humid because of the rain, but we were very grateful for the rain. So we're going to talk to you today here from Keeler Gardens about climbing vines. It's something that we were working on with our interns today. So we start, of course, with saying, if you're watching this on a replay and you didn't see it live, maybe you didn't get the notification. Welcome to the two viewers who maybe got their notification. Make sure you follow and like Keeler Gardens so that you can watch us live here on Facebook and enjoy some of our programming. So today we're talking about vines here at Keeler Gardens. So there's a lot of different vines and there's a lot of different ways that vines climb. We're going to start with honeysuckle because it's such a pretty one, and we've got it right here, and we've got a second round of blooms for you that I just am so excited about. These guys are going to open up into a beautiful yellow color, and they have like a nectar. This is called honeysuckle. Hello, Dr. Cafaro. Hello, Ed. Welcome. But I'm going to step back and show you. This is a vine, so it starts down here, and it climbs. Okay, now this vine, this type of vine, it doesn't climb on its own. It's just long stems like this, okay, that you have to support. So we started it off by attaching it to these bamboo stakes here. Okay, these are stakes that are in the ground, and as you can see, it's gotten wound up in the fence so much that it's pulling the stakes over. Eventually we'll pull those out or we'll break them. So what we've done is we've woven it into the fence, and we use the fence for support. Now in this case, this vine can get maybe 15 feet long. So 15 feet is going to take us to about here. Wouldn't it be nice if we could cover this entire fence? So this growth has been going on for about 2 summers now, or is it 3? I'd have to check the notes. We keep a garden log so we know what went in when. And we've gotten to about here. You can see how long that is, and we've just wound it around, and we're just going to continue to do so. There's many ways you can treat vines like this. We have a lot of separate runners. See the individual runners here? We could have limited those runners. For example, see how this one's growing out this way and there's no fence over here? We might cut these back and let the energy go into the ones growing this way. Wow, that was really fast. Sorry about that. So this is honeysuckle. When it opens, it's going to open and the inside's going to be yellow. Oh, that was sorry, I thought it was an actual flower. It's a lost flower. This one's all dried up. But you can see all the yellow. Is it still? And they do have a wonderful scent. Okay, so this is one of our first vines. You need to support this vine, okay? Doesn't have what's called tendrils. It doesn't have what's called suckers, which we will get into and explain to you right now. So we're going to move along this way. We're going to show you another climbing vine over here. This is clematis. One of the reasons why I like clematis so much is because it's very light and airy. It climbs and you can easily attach it to anything. It too will need some support. But this is one that if you don't support it and you just let it go wild, it has a natural way of grabbing onto whatever is nearest to support it. I'm trying to fix it right now and it's not working, and I'm probably not showing you a very good view of this. Let me actually show you the flower, because the flower is relatively pretty on clematis. That's the flower. This one is a beautiful white. In the bright, bright sunlight, it's got a hint of purple on it. Forgive me, I'm cameraman and at the same time. Can you see all that purple under there? Look at that beautiful underneath. It's gorgeous to look at when the sun is shining on it. So you can see that there's the base. This is an 8-foot piece of lattice, and it's easily going to the top and then some. Now, this guy uses its leaves almost like a tendril or a twiner. Can you see the bend here? See this bend here? Every time its leaf bumps into something over and over and over again, or it's in the shade or it's in the sun, different hormones tell this leaf and this branch what to do. So this guy got bumped around in a way that told him grab on, and so he's got that little bend. So now he would grab on to another stem or another piece of the lattice. See how he hooks himself? And they do that naturally. And it's nothing but a hooking or a winding. That's how clematis will climb. I'm gonna jump over here and show you another clematis over here. Here's another one. Look at this beautiful purple flower. I'm trying not to step on plants as I'm showing you this. I'm gonna come around. See this guy here? So we had in the garden we had these 2 Rose of Sharon stumps, trunks, whatever you want to call them. And we were afraid to dig them out because it was going to leave the space very empty. So we planted this clematis at the base so we could use the stump as its trellis of sorts. And we line it up and we just weave it around and around and around, and it just sort of flows there. Now, if it gets a little bigger and more aggressive, it may very well jump to the next plant over. We're going to try to prevent that. All right, I'm looking and seeing there's a flower back here that looks like a weed. I can't tell. All right, sorry, I digress. So that's clematis. There are many different kinds of clematis. 3 different summer bloomings, and we also have the fall blooming one in the front and on the pergola. The summer blooming ones you can actually prune back after they flower. See how these guys have gone to seed? Let me see if I can zoom in on that for you. These are going to seed. The flowers are gone. There's one. Flowers are gone, and these are going to make little seeds. But if we were to cut all these seeds off and tell the plant, don't make seeds, make more flowers, it may bloom again. How you prune them depends on when they flower. So if they flower early, you prune them early. If they flower late, you prune them late or not at all or not as much. But there are specific instructions per type of clematis. Okay, that's clematis. Now we have another windy type vine to show you. Many of you may have heard of Morning Glory, and if not, I don't know if I actually have any. We just pulled them all out because they're very windy. But another popular one is wisteria. So I don't know if everybody knows wisteria or not, but this is wisteria. That's the end of it. See how windy it is at the end? It does that because it's getting bopped around and it's looking for something to grab onto. So when it can't grab onto a lattice or a structure, it backtracks and it'll grab onto itself. And that's what we're actually trying to do with this guy. If we look down here, see its stem here? These are all of its stems at the base. What we're trying to do is we're trying to wind these stems back around itself over and over and over again to create sort of like a tree, to see if we can maybe get it to stand up on its own and it won't need a lattice. It's going to take a long time to make that happen, years. I'll include a picture in here of a different species or a different cultivar of wisteria that we had in another place. And I'll show you why wisteria is kept away from a house or needs a very, very strong structure to hold on to it. It grows and it grows and grows, and it becomes very, very powerful with its trunk and its vines, and it literally can crush things. It ripped lattice out of a wall. We had bolted lattice to a wall, and it grew in between the lattice and the wall, and it grew so strong and so big that it like literally engulfed the lattice like a boa constrictor. I'll put a picture in the comments for you to see. So this is why you have to be very, very careful with wisteria. The other thing about wisteria is that there are 2 different kinds, one that is more likely to bloom than the other. We've had our wisteria, not this one, a different one, for like 12 years, and it's never bloomed. This one we planted only the summer before last, and it bloomed both years. Beautiful, beautiful blue flowers. So that's why we're going to baby this one and maybe try to plant another one like this one where the other one is. And we can see if we can get it to grow over the gazebo. So wisteria does similar to what, similar in its bendiness like the clematis is, but each one of these vines is going to look for a place to go. Now remember how we had that honeysuckle over here where it just went and went and went and went. So this is like the honeysuckle in that it goes and goes and goes and goes, but it binds, it winds where the honeysuckle doesn't, okay? And clematis doesn't get as windy. It can, but clematis, if you look at these branches, it doesn't get like a tree. The branches on clematis they're not dangerously strong like wisteria. I'll see if I have a picture from the spring of the blooms of this wisteria. It was phenomenal. It was just beautiful. Okay, so that is, and then we also have here, which you can barely see, we have one up in the front. This is a rose. Can you see the thorns sticking out? Those thorns are actually modified, either leaves or modified skin. They're not an individual separate entity, whereas like The tendrils on some of the viney plants, like a grape plant, for example, are modified leaves. So the plants will manipulate themselves to do what they need to do depending on where they are. But a rose is like the honeysuckle. It has no method by which to stand up on its own. So it needs to be supported in every case, okay? So that's the ones that need support, honeysuckle and rose, and the ones that are viney and bindy, like clematis or wisteria or morning glory, which I'm remiss in showing you, and I apologize for that. Oh, here's another reason why we have to be careful about wisteria. Remember I showed you the base over there? Okay, well, I don't know if you can see it, but down, down, down. Oh wait, no, it's behind this pot. This is that same wisteria, and it just wants to go and go and go, and it will root and it will find a place and it will start twining. So we have to cut this down because this is too much. We don't want this. We just have too much of it at this point. If it's rooted in the ground, I could try to propagate if somebody wants it. All right, so now we're moving on to vines that hold, okay? Some vines that hold are dangerous and detrimental. We have a vine here called climbing hydrangea. The base of this was planted down there on the ground, and it has in 12 years or 10 years, 12 years, done that. Now, this railing has not been harmed by that. It hasn't broken any wood, it hasn't pulled any nails out, it hasn't made the railing less sturdy. It just sits there. So this is one that's bold and substantial, but not aggressive. Now, I'm going to show you the details of it, is why we love it so much. First of all, it's a slow grower until it gets established, and then it really fills out a space, obviously. Okay, so what it does is, let me see if I can find you a really good one. As it branches out, it's looking for somewhere to go. Can you see the little white, that little white dot right there? That is the beginning of either a sucker or a root. Let me see if I can find you a better one. It's really quite neat when you look at it and you see it reaching out. Ah, here, maybe this is, can you see? I'm so sorry, I only have one hand. That, see that right there where my thumb is? Like right next to my thumb, there's a little white protrusion. So that is what this plant uses to either root or hold on. So if this guy ends up touching the ground, if any of these end up touching the ground, those little white guys right there, right in the middle of your screen, that little white dot right there next to that black line, that's just a marring of the branch. Those little white things will establish themselves, and they will either grab onto the wood like a sucker, or they will make a root. And let me see if I have any over here. Again, I'm sorry about the bad camera angle. I was trying to walk down the stairs. Let me see if I can show you any in here that are substantial, that look really cool. Gosh, I'm sorry. I had some really good ones and they're all gone. So these are all growing out, and these are growing out probably way too far. We're going to cut these back. So no, I don't have any really good ones to show you, and I apologize. I had planned this all out and I thought it was going to be a great show because they were really cool. Here, I'm going to step back. I'm chatting and I'm working at the same time. Okay, let's see. What do we got here? Aha! This might be a good one. I'm going to take you in here and we're going to show you. So see how this branch is just hanging out? But look at that. See the little millipedes on the bottom? See the little millipedes? That's the roots just like sucking on. See how this guy is like, I'm giving him a little, oh, I'm rotating the phone wrong, sorry. I'm giving it a little tug. See? Pulling the roots away. So those are suckers holding on. And all they do is they leave behind a little mark. Ooh, I pulled it too hard. They leave behind a little mark on the wood. Just a little marring. It's not dangerous or detrimental. Now, I mean, you know, it could be in a very aggressive situation. Let me see if, but look at these. Look at the bark when it gets old. Look at that. Look at how rich that bark is. So in the winter, when all these leaves are gone, look at that bark. It's phenomenal. And like this one, is this sitting? This is sitting right on. So if we tried to rip that off, well, that might leave a mark. but it's not damaging it in a way that you have to be concerned immediately. Where something like wisteria with these little tendrils can work their way into window panes. So you do have to be careful. So I highly recommend climbing hydrangea if you have patience and if you have just something that you need to cover. Give it enough water and a little bit of sun, and eventually it will do a nice job, especially if you keep it trained to have only 1 or 2 stems. We can cut you some, we can make you some. There's a whole bunch of it vining down at the base here. If you can see this, see all that wants to root or sucker? We can get you some and stick some in some water for you and make sure we can get you some so that you can grow it. All right, and lastly, a similar sucker situation is trumpet vine. Now, trumpet vine is a little different in that I would not blanketly recommend trumpet vine because of its aggressiveness, similar to the wisteria that we have over there. I myself have not had enough experience with it over time to be able to say one way or the other. But it does the sucker thing. See the suckers there? Those were attached and I was trimming it and I just loosened them. But this is climbing up this with no help at all. No fishing line, no ties, nothing. And it's all just using its little suckers. And we want it to grow all the way up there. But we also have to be aware that at the base, it makes more lengths. Many runners, and in there many runners. We have to keep it cleared out, otherwise it just gets overwhelming and it's too much. Makes a beautiful orange trumpet flower that the hummingbirds love. So that gives you an idea of a bunch of different vines. Those are all perennial here at Keeler Gardens, and actually we could probably share all of them. We have plenty of, we have this is the sweet autumn clematis. There's a little baby one there. We have little babies of it everywhere. We can give those away. We've got extra rooters of the trumpet vine, and I just got distracted. One second, okay? 1 second. We have a guest who's coming to collect some seeds. So I'm gonna wrap this up. So we told you about the different vines we have perennial, and then we also have on site some annual vines that we bring inside. And this is, Mandevilla is the one that we bring inside. We're waiting for it to flower. When this flowers, it's gonna be phenomenal. We do have a red one flowering in the back. I will take a picture of that also. So, this is me saying thank you so much for joining us here on this programming at Keeler Gardens, learning about vines. We're here to teach you about connecting with nature, and today we did it through a unique exposure to some of the plants that we grow here. So we're going to end with some of our beautiful flowers. Don't forget our What's in Bloom series. We'll take you for a tour on Saturday or next Monday, depending on the weather and depending on our schedule. And you can also see our What's in Bloom features on Instagram. I'm Gina at KeelerGardens.org if you need to email me, and Ed is ed@KeelerGardens.org. Thank you so much for joining us for this wonderful vine talk. If you have any questions on any of these vines, clematis, honeysuckle, trumpet flower, wisteria, climbing hydrangea, or any other vines that we can talk to you about, we will happily do that. So thanks for joining us, and we will see you again probably tomorrow. All right? Thanks. Bye.